Hello everyone, welcome once again to Scorpion Cigar Reviews, and this is yet another installment in my quest for my 2016 Cigar of the Year. And we have two candidates left, and oh what the heck, we'll try the Gloria Cubana Series R. This is a Maduro wrapper. This also comes in a natural, but this particular one is the Maduro. Now this is a rather large cigar, 7 by 58, and it the wrapper is Connecticut broadleaf Maduro. The binder is Nicaraguan, and the fillers are Dominican and Nicaraguan. It's like I said, it's really a pretty large cigar, 7 by 58. But surprisingly, it's not as heavy as you would expect for such a large cigar. Good firm pack, plenty of tobacco packed in there. I'm not feeling any voids, any soft spots. It's got tight but visible seams. It's got some veining. Nothing out of the ordinary in the veins. Nothing to be concerned about. There are a couple lumps towards the cap, like maybe a stem sticking through. Hopefully that won't be a problem. Well, I'm not really getting much of anything on the nose of the wrapper. Virtually nothing. Not a thing. Strange. Even the foot, very subtle. There's some leather in there. Maybe a little bit of spice. Very subtle. Alright, now, this cigar retails for $10.40. Yep, that's what it says. $10.40 at my local tobacconist here in Roanoke, Virginia. Over there on Jefferson Street. Milan Tobacconists. Great place. Friendly people. You should visit them. I will leave at the end of this video, as I have in the others, their address and phone numbers. Anyway, without any further ado, pre-light draw. I almost wonder if my sense of smell and taste is just totally out of whack today, because I've smoked these in the past, and from the best I can recall, there would have been a decent nose and pre-light draw, but I'm just really not getting much of anything. Starting to come in, a little bit of leather. Maybe a little bit of hay, a little bit of barnyard in the background. Very, very subtle. Now, considering this is one of my candidates for my 2016 C.O.T.Y Awards, like I said, either my sense of smell and taste is totally shut down today, or maybe this is an anomaly. Anywho, let's go ahead and get toasted up and on with the review. Give that a shot. Good dose of pepper. Oh yeah, pepper's getting even stronger. There's a there's something there that's the only way I can think to describe it is if you've ever had a stack of magazines, comic books, magazines, that kind of thing. Just hundreds of them, hundreds and hundreds of them just stacked up in a closed off room. And you walk into that room, there's a scent in the air from those magazines. A little bit of a taste. It's kind of thick in the air. A little bit of that. I'm also getting, is that a blue note? No. No, it's more of that magazine. Real powerful. So now I'm getting a lot of that. That's what that is. Strange. All right, spices starting to hit the rear of the palate. One in the rear. Well, I'm going to let this heat up, and I'm going to come back somewhere in the first third, which could take some time. See you in a bit. Here we are about a half hour in the late in the first third. Couple things. One, the uneven burn. I was kind of examining it, try to see if perhaps it was something I had done, and I noticed that when I cut the cap, it was kind of off to one side. So I kind of straightened it out a little bit. It's not perfect, but I don't want to cut off too much for fear that it's going to start unraveling. But so I evened that out a bit and touched it back up, and we'll see what happens there. See if I can get the burn to even out and to continue to burn evenly. Two, typically when I choose cigars for my Cigar of the Year candidates, it's something that I've smoked numerous times. This particular cigar, the Gloria Cubana Serie R Maduro, I didn't smoke nearly enough prior to deciding to put it into my C.O.T.Y candidate program. I'd only smoked, I think, twice prior to this, and I remember the first time I smoked this, I was in love with the cigar. I swear, it took me like darn near 3 hours to smoke it. This one's burning much quicker, and the flavors just aren't there from what I had picked up from the first two I had smoked. It's not bad, it's just I'm not getting the same flavors. And so with that, the consistency obviously isn't there. This is far different from the first two I had smoked. So perhaps putting this in my Cigar of the Year candidacy, maybe it didn't warrant it, I don't know. Maybe it'll pick up a little bit, but the ones I had smoked before, they were fantastic from the beginning all the way down to the nub. And this just isn't wowing me. There's nothing stellar about this cigar at the moment. I'm getting a little bit of barnyard, a real subtle leather, like a tack shop or something, or more like one of those cowboy stores where they've got the cowboy hats and the cowboy boots and some other various things. But it's a wide open, like a superstore, so nothing's really condensed. So it's not quite like a tack shop in that regard. It's more like a cowboy shop. Not in a Brokeback Mountain kind of way either. I'm telling you that right now. Uh, Another stupid joke. There you go. It's pleasant. There's a little bit of spice on there. It's just not wowing me like the other two samples did that I had smoked earlier in the year. All right, well, I'll continue smoking this, and I'll come back somewhere in second, third. See you in a bit. All right, here we are in the second, third. Late in the second, third, about 50 minutes in. The cigar is starting to become a little more pleasing to the palate. Picking up some dry cedar, and there's almost like a reminiscence of some steamed white rice, both kind of a little bit of a scent as well as a little bit of a flavor on the palate. Some subtle hints of grilled meat. The draw is a little bit snug, but you know, not problematic. And it still seems to be burning a little bit unevenly, even after I had recut the cap. But it does still seem to be matching the cut. So either it's coincidence or this cigar is very dependent on how you cut it in relation to what kind of burn you get. So, and as far as it burning so quickly as compared to the other samples of this I've had in the past, this cigar was much lighter weight than those other two. Although it still seemed to be, you know, packed full of tobacco, it was still pretty firm, and it looked like there was just a ton of tobacco in there. It was lightweight compared to the others. So I think that is why it's burning so much quicker. This is not going to be a 3-hour cigar, I can tell you that. All right. It's quite pleasant. I'll continue smoking this, and I'll come back in the final third. See you in a bit. Here I am, an hour and 25 minutes in, into the final third. Now, the final third has really started to shine on this cigar. The strange thing is I've picked up hints of like crayon as I would draw and also inhale through my nose at the same time. And this has kind of happened off and on throughout the cigar, but I'm really noticing it in the final third. Draw and inhale through my nose at the same time. It smells like crayon. Not in a bad way. It's not, you know, putting me off or anything, just kind of strange. And on the exhale, I'm getting a little bit of that crayon as well. There's more of that dry cedar, which is quite nice. It's pretty forward, pretty dominant. Real nice. There's kind of a peppery, almost like a, even more than pepper, more like those cinnamon disc candies on the palate now. It's kind of all over the palate, but I really notice it way in the back of the palate on the arrival. And then the finish, it kind of moves forward. As it develops, it starts to move forward. And then on the finish, it's right on the sides of the tongue, like I was sucking on one of those peppermint disc candies. kind of slightly sweet, not quite as sweet as a peppermint disc candy, but definitely hot, spicy peppermint. Not peppermint. What do you call it? Cinnamon discs. Some Cajun spices in there. A little bit of meatiness starting to come through. Yeah, this is right in this final third. I'm really picking up a lot of flavor changes. Very nice. I'm going to continue smoking this. I'll come back in the nub with my final thoughts and impressions and a score. See you in a bit. Alright, so here I am in the nub, about an hour and a half in. Light in the final third and into the nub. I'm picking up a little bit of mustiness, not in a bad way. Just another characteristic of the flavor profile. There's some damp earth, which could kind of follow along the lines of the mustiness. Smoke's getting quite hot. The cigar's starting to warm up quite a bit. Pretty peppery in the in the nub here. Peppers throughout. The arrival, the development, the finish, all over the palate. From the tip of my tongue, sides of my tongue, in my cheeks, rear of the palate. Very peppery. More of that cinnamon disc. Yeah, definitely. Who would I recommend this cigar to? Probably not a novice. At $10.40, this is more of an upper mid-range cigar, so someone just starting off would maybe not want to pick up a cigar, for one thing, of this size. It's quite large at 7 by 58. And that price point is $10.40 before tax. A little high for a novice. And then in the previous samples, the flavor profile was just all over the board. It was outstanding. But in this sample, I wasn't getting that. Until the end, I was getting a lot more flavors, but not really the same flavors that I was getting with the previous two samples. An experienced cigar smoker, let me try that again. An experienced cigar smoker wouldn't necessarily be put off by the price point or the size of the cigar, knowing that cigars come in a range of sizes and flavor profiles and price points and that kind of thing. And then the flavor profile itself, an aficionado could appreciate the subtleties that are there and would also possibly enjoy how the cigar changes as the smoking progresses from the initial lighting all the way into the nub. So yeah, maybe not necessarily for a novice, but definitely an aficionado could appreciate the cigar. What did I score this? 91.5 points without any kind of adjustments, just a straight 91.5 points. It scored lowest on the nosing of the cigar. The wrapper and the foot were almost undetectable. If you really, really looked, you could find some subtle notes of some leather, very subtle, and some very subtle spice. The wrapper had some toothiness to it, which you could kind of feel was a little bit rough. At the same time, it was kind of waxy feeling, and left kind of an oily, waxy feel on your fingers. And if you really look, you can see the toothiness isn't really pronounced. There's a lot of it, but they're very, very small puffs. Very small. So I thank you for once again watching Scorpion Cigar Reviews. This has been my 2016 Cigar of the Year candidate, La Gloria Cubana Serie R number 7, 7x58 Maduro. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.